Red Rocks of Sedona, Arizona, just about an hour and a half north of downtown Phoenix. That's where we are, downtown Phoenix. Second game of 4 between the Padres and the Diamondbacks. Matt Kemp warming up before this one, taking some batting practice at Chase Field. As you look at the National League West standings, Padres trying to bring themselves back above 500 and keep pace with the Dodgers in the National League West. Meanwhile, Mark Trumbo, he's had a good couple of days. He's been hitting second, and he's been contributing. A home run last night and a home run in the second game of their doubleheader against Colorado a couple of days ago. Welcome to Chase Field. As we said, Game 4, Game 2 of 4 between the Padres and the Diamondbacks. With Mark Grant, I'm Jesse Agler. Let's talk a little bit about run differential, Mud. Wins and losses. It's been a very interesting story for the Padres. I'm going to show you some numbers here. I want you to check these out. When the Padres have won games so far this season, they've done so by about 4 runs per game. When they've lost games this season, they've lost them by exactly 4 runs per game on average. A very, very interesting couple of numbers there. Not playing a ton of tight games, that would say.
I look at those numbers, and I'm thinking both ends of the spectrum, right? And there's got to be a happy medium. And when you look at those numbers, it's almost like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Remember the old classic?
Sure,
that
Robert
you don't
Louis
know what you're going to get, right? Well, this team, the San Diego Padres, they need to find out what their identity is. They know they can hit the long ball, and they know they've pitched some games too. If it's not the pitching, it's the hitting, and vice versa. So, up and down season in this 162-game schedule, I like to say that a team finds its identity around 54 games. That's 1/3 through the season. Will they be able to have that differential be in the middle and win games? And well, they're going to lose some games as well, but keep them close. They've been blown out. They have blown out teams. So what type of team is it going to be? It might take a month and a half, but around All-Star break, it's going to be one of those things, the identity of this ball club, that we're going to try to find out what team really is the San Diego Padres.
Is it Jekyll or is it Hyde? James Shields on the mound. No Jekyll Hyde there, just a stopper at the top of the rotation for the Padres. One of the best strikeout pitchers in baseball so far this year.
He's the ace. That's why they acquired the right-hander. It's his 7th start, and when you look at Major League Baseball leaders, strikeouts per 9 innings, he's up there just under 12. Why? He can spot the fastball anytime. He's got the changeup, but he's been saying that he's been throwing more of the curveball. Ks per 9 is up. The curveball, the changeup, nasty pitches for James Shields. He's 3rd in the National League in strikeouts with 48 entering tonight.
That's a good number. When we come up, we'll get an update on the Padre first baseman. A painful moment late in the game last night. Yonder Alonso talks to Chris Budden, and then first pitch. Padres and Diamondbacks coming up.
ago against the Rockies that Yonder Alonso got hit in the back by a pitch. He was out of the lineup for 2 days. And then last night on this play while trying to dive for a catch, re-injures that same spot in the back. Now, MRI results revealed this morning that thankfully there is no structural damage. Right now it's being diagnosed as a deeply bruised scapula. He will head to the 15-day disabled list. I spoke with Yonder just a little bit ago. He is disappointed, but at the same time relieved that it looks like it's an injury that will only keep him sidelined for a couple of weeks.
That's the way I play. I go 100%, and things are going to happen. I think as long as we can somewhat have those injuries where it's not long and it keeps you away from the game for a long time, that's when those are a struggle. Those are struggles. But I think the good news on all this is that it's not long term.
And with that, Will Myers will be at first base today as he and the rest of the team, James Shields and company, trying to silence the Snakes after their bats heated up last night. They try and cool them off. When we've got Game 2 coming up against the Diamondbacks at Chase Field when we return.
By Petco, what we feed them matters. And by Sony, the leader of 4K Ultra HD. Welcome back to the desert. Game 2 of 4 between the Padres and the Diamondbacks. Another beautiful night in Phoenix. The roof is open for a second consecutive game with Mark Grant and Chris Budden. I'm Jesse Agler. The Padre lineup is brought to you by Toyota. Will Myers in a very familiar spot at the top of the order, but a very unfamiliar spot defensively. His first big league start at first base. Another opportunity for Corey Spangenberg at the top of the order. Will Venable getting the start in center as Myers moves from the outfield to first base.
And right-hander Jeremy Hellickson on the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's got the four-seam fastball, changeups and a curve. He's got arm side run on that fastball, and you might see him with that knuckle curve grip. We can get into that as the game goes on. And the Diamondbacks got a report on Hellickson, brought to you by Verizon Wireless.
As mentioned, first big league start at first base for Will Myers. Roof open, but the panels in the outfield are closed. Myers and Hellickson, teammates for a short time in Tampa Bay. And the first-year Diamondback gets ready and delivers a fastball in the dirt. We're underway 1-0 to Myers. If you're thinking to yourself, first baseman batting leadoff, that doesn't happen all that often.
No, it doesn't.
You'd be right.
Usually the first baseman is a production position, right, where you're putting up good numbers.
Myers swings and misses, 1-1.
Power numbers, I think, of leadoff hitters Ricky Henderson, Brett Butler back in the day.
Sure. Last time a Padre first baseman led off was September of 2005, almost 10 years ago. Robert Fick did it that night, right here in Arizona. Hellickson just missing. 2 balls and a strike to Myers, who doubled and scored in the first inning against Hellickson on April 14th back at Petco Park. Last night's starter, Odrisamer Despaigne.
Just could not find the corners last night for OD. Despaigne having difficulty spotting the fastball.
Myers to left field, coming on Peralta, not going to get there. Leadoff single for Wil Myers. Good start for the Padres against 28-year-old Jeremy Hellickson.
Wil Myers will sacrifice that, Shillelagh, for a base knock. He will gladly have to reach for a new one next time up. That one dumps in there. As I mention all the time, sometimes it's a good thing you don't hit the sweet spot. And on this swing, piece of the bat off the mask of Jimmy Joyce, the home plate umpire.
Looks like he's okay as Corey Spangenberg gets into the box. And he takes a fastball low. Spangenberg starting for the 4th straight game. 3 of those starts coming at second base, where he is tonight. 1 over at third. Hellickson misses again. 2 balls and no strikes.
Hellickson will nibble around the plate. And the numbers, I tell you what, the first inning for this right-hander is his kryptonite. In the first inning this year, he's given up 8 earned runs, an ERA of 14.4. Opponents are hitting .480 off Hellickson in the first inning. You've got to get to this guy, and it's a great start for Wil Myers leading off with that single.
And when he started that game in Petco last month, Padres got him 3 times in the first inning. Looking to repeat that success here in Phoenix. (3-0). Padres have already played 24 games against opponents in the National League West. 13-11 so far. As you see Matt Kemp waiting. Tonight the 5th game between these 2 teams. They have split the first 4, 2-2. On 3-0, Spangenberg takes, and that's a strike.
Like every umpire being different, Jim Joyce behind the plate. Looks like he got a 3-0 call there for Hellickson. Manager Chip Hale looking on his first year at the helm for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
You can see Fox Tracks presented by Honda. That pitch missed. Should have been ball 4 to Spangenberg. Now a 3-1, and that is ball 4. So the first 2 men reach against Jeremy Hellickson. The Diamondbacks defense is brought to you by Renovation Realty. You get a look at the catcher, Tuffy Gozowicz, going out to chat with the starting pitcher. The rest of the Diamondbacks D looks like this. A little bit different than last night. Chris Owings gets the start at shortstop. We saw Nick Ahmed there yesterday. A.J. Pollock in center field. No Ender Inciarte. Everything else the same as game 1 of this series last night, which was an 11-0 win for the Diamondbacks.
Second fewest errors for this Diamondback team. They can catch the ball. They can throw the ball. 11 errors. Miami leads the National League in fewest errors with 10. Diamondbacks with 11.
Got some guys in the outfield that can throw the baseball as well.
Yes.
Something to keep in mind when you're trying to take those extra bases.
Pollock has 4 outfield assists.
Hellickson will step off, a little bit preoccupied with Wil Myers over at second base. Matt Kemp 1 for 3 last night. One of just 3 hits for the Padres. Ruby De La Rosa was impressive. Daniel Hudson and Evan Marshall finished it out of the bullpen. As Hellickson misses ball 1 inside to Kemp. Mark mentioned all the numbers for Hellickson in the first inning. It has been a struggle. Allowed at least one in the first inning each of his last 4 starts. Kemp takes ball 2.
Boy, some pitchers, it is amazing how they are just allergic to the first inning. And everybody tries to come up with these remedies. Oh, throw more in the bullpen. Act like you've got hitters in the bullpen. Put a hitter up in the bullpen when you're throwing towards home plate. Maybe get a little tired in the bullpen. Just can't find the definite answer.
Kemp hits the 2-0 foul outside of third.
Like an 81-mile-an-hour changeup from Hellickson.
Didn't want to give Kemp the automatic fastball on 2-0. Justin Upton is next. And we were talking about the Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing going on for the Padres. It's crazy. When you look back at the last 4 games, 3 against the Giants, the 1 last night, they've been shut out 3 times. The hit totals in those 4 games, it's just wild. 2 hits, 4 hits, 3 hits, and then 16 hits in the 1 win. 2-2.
Back-to-back changeup, and Goswitch is going to go out and have a chat, even though it's a swing and a miss.
All right, let's take a look at the keys to the game. Mark, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
So many keys that we could have went with, but these were the 2 that really stood out. Get to Hellickson early. We mentioned that. The ERA in the first inning this year, 14.4. And Shields needs to be a stopper. It'd be nice to see James Shields go 8 innings as he prepares to face these Diamondbacks. Another one is to contain Goldschmidt and Trumbo, right?
Could say that any night against this team. Be nice to get Shields some run support as well. Foul again outside of third.
Heavy dose of soft stuff to Matt Kemp behind in the count, pitching backwards. He had him 2-0 and 3 straight changeups. That's pretty much Hellickson's secondary pitch. This year, fastballs 61% of the time, changeups come in at 24%. And coming in at show is the curveball at 15%.
2-2 to Kemp. And we'll wait for it as Hellickson looks back at Will Myers again. Myers single to lead off the game. Corey Spangenberg walked behind him. And Matt Kemp battling, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Got it. Matt Kemp strikes out. 1 away.
Matt Kemp was in the driver's seat from the get-go because Jeremy Hellickson fell behind 2-0 with runners at first and second. 2-0, changeup. 2-1, changeup. 2-2, another changeup, and then up the ladder for the strikeout. 4-5. Check that. 5 of the pitches down to the zone, and the last one for the kill was the fastball up and away.
Here's Justin Upton, who homered off Hellickson April 14th at Petco. And for all the troubles that Hellickson has had in the first inning, he's been good against the long ball. Just 2 home runs allowed by the Arizona starter this year. One of them belongs to Justin Upton, who takes strike 1. Justin, the Padres leader in home runs and RBIs. Comfortably settled into the cleanup position in this lineup. Takes it inside. Top in the way back machine. April 14th, and that's a laser. Big time home run from Justin Upton. Got out in a hurry. Had a couple of long balls in that series, including the game winner in the 8th inning the night before.
And that's the hot zone that Hellickson tries to stay out of. Upton in and up a little bit. He's going to try to concentrate on keeping that ball down and away.
Paints the outside corner there. 1-2.
There it is.
Hellickson, the 2011 American League Rookie of the Year with Tampa Bay. Went 13-10 that season with a .295 earned run average. You know, finished second in the voting that year for AL Rookie of the Year. The right fielder tonight for
Mark
the Diamondbacks.
Trumbo.
Yeah. inside, 2-2. Well, he's had to work so far. First two men reached, struck out Kemp after falling behind 2-0. And now a little bit of a battle brewing here with Justin Upton.
Let's see if he goes fastball away or goes soft like he did to Matt Kemp.
Hit on the ground to the left side. Owings to Hill for one. On to first, double play. Justin Upton grounds into an inning-ending double play, and Jeremy Hellickson pitches around. A tough top of the first.
Such a competitor.
Big strikeout.
Fitting in just fine here in San Diego.
James Shields 3-0 with a 3.72 ERA in his first 6 starts as a member of the San Diego Padres. He'll face the Arizona Diamondbacks lineup, which is brought to you by Hyundai. A.J. Pollock did not start last night. He will tonight and lead off. What, third straight game for Trumbo in the 2-hole. An unfamiliar place for him, but he's been very, very productive. Owings knew the lineup from last night, and Tuffy Gozawish a career night last night against Espana and the Padre bullpen. The James Shields scouting report, Mark Grant.
He's a battler. He's a gamer. He's got to set the tone. Got to go deep into this game. He'll give you 6 or 7. It would be nice for James Shields to go 8 tonight and twirl a gem. Mentioned it earlier. The curveball has been a big plus, along with that changeup, hence the strikeouts per 9 innings for James Shields. Just under 12 per 9.
Pollock up over 300 as the Diamondbacks look for a 4th consecutive win. This is the first time all year they've won 3 straight games. And they're doing it with offense and a lot of it. At least the last 3. Doubleheader against the Rockies and last night against the Padres. 3 games, 48 hits, 29 runs. Shields against the low strike call from Jim Joyce, 1-2. See the last start for Shields. Sunday against the Rockies. Padres won that game 8-6.
And I guarantee you after that outing, sure he got the win and the team won, but he was disappointed because he wants to go deeper into games.
Pollock out to left center field. Upton and Venable both coming over. Upton chases it down, and the left fielder makes the catch just shy of the warning track. 1 gone. Rest of the Padres defense brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. James Shields will be relying upon these gentlemen behind him tonight. You just saw Upton and Venable. Matt Kemp, of course, is in right field. Solarte and Amarista on the left side of the infield. Spangenberg and Myers on the right. Derek Norris behind the dish.
Well, if there's anybody fired up for this Padre defense, it's Will Myers over at first base.
First major league start at first. He's appeared in 2 games at first base, both last year with Tampa Bay. And spring training this year, did some work there. You see he's got the mitt, and he played, I think, 3 innings late in spring training in a game against the Mariners.
Hey, big frame to throw over there.
Sure.
Right? At first base.
Tall target. Trumbo fouls that one off. 0-2. Last night, Mark Trumbo, first at bat, rocket shot out to left field.
Hanging off-speed pitch. Sped up the bat of Trumbo.
Shields ahead of him, 0-2, and he strikes him out. Can't hold up. And James Shields gets the first two men pretty quickly here at the bottom of the first.
What was one of the pitches I was talking about, James Shields, with the strikeout? That's the curveball. And he places it perfectly, and Derek Norris smothers it in the dirt. He will apply the tag to complete the out.
Yeah, over the course of his career, Shields would often go to the changeup, for the strikeout pitch. And this season, he's been using the curveball a lot more in those situations. Nice article today on Fangraphs by Eno Saris. He had talked to Shields in San Francisco, really breaking down the way he's using his different pitches. Here's Goldschmidt, first pitch swinging, fouls it back. 0-1.
Well, the hot zone for Paul Goldschmidt, look at right down the middle, and it's no shocker, 8 hits are right down the middle. Where can you get him? That last pitch he threw, he fouled off, down and away, and he down and in either.
So keep it down, but not down the middle.
Right.
Got it.
Correct.
0-2. Nice pitch from Shields.
And this looks like a hanger. That's a hanging breaking ball. And you know what? Sometimes hitters can't hit a hanging breaking ball. You know who could not hit a hanging slider back in the day? Michael Jack Schmidt. Because of that swing. He was a low ball hitter. He was a low ball hitter. If you hung him a slider about belt buckle high, his swing path, the barrel of the bat, couldn't catch up to it. Swing and a miss.
Yonder Alonso will be placed on the disabled list officially tomorrow, it sounds like. And Abraham Almonte will join the Padres from AAA El Paso. And Buddy Black was asked before the game if it'll be mostly Will Myers at first base with Alonso on the disabled list, and he said you very well could be. Something to keep track of over the course of the next couple weeks. Goldschmidt misses there, and back-to-back strikeouts for James Shields. Got him with the changeup, and a 1-2-3 first for Shields, striking out the dangerous Paul Goldschmidt. Scoreless after 1 in Phoenix.
MLB on Fox Sports 1 returns with a doubleheader of divisional rivalry, beginning with the Royals taking on the Tigers, and then the Braves are going to square up against the Washington Nationals. Coverage begins at 9:30 a.m. Pacific on your home for baseball every Saturday. Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
An opportunity to watch Bryce Harper live, which right now is a fun thing to do. Jan Hervé Solarte takes outside from Jeremy Hellickson. to start off the top of the second inning. Padres were threatening in the first. A single and a walk from Myers and Spangenberg to start it off. Matt Kemp struck out, and then Justin Upton grounded into a 6-4-3 double play as Hellickson, who has really struggled in the first inning, got out of it. Harper hit 2 more tonight, by the way.
Unbelievable.
3 in his last game, 2 tonight. Solarte 1 for 3 with a double last night.
I'd like to see where those pitches were hit and what field he hit them to. Bryce Harper, right? Just to get a look-see, a little scouting report on what pitches were thrown.
Mike Pomeranz, Steve Finley, they're back in the Fox viewing room downtown San Diego. They'll have a game break for you later. They'll show you everything.
Nice.
Solarte hits that one to shallow left. Tomas is there. Owings will call. The shortstop steps back, makes the catch, and 1 away. I'll tease you, though. They did not go to the same place, the 2 home runs tonight for Bryce Harper.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. They'll show us the video later.
Because I like to see, if a guy's hitting home runs, I like to see where the pitch is thrown, up, down, in, out, and what field he takes them to. Is he one-dimensional? And when I say he, I'm generalizing. Is that batter? Or does he like to use the whole field?
Derek Norris, another double last night, his 12th of the season. Second most doubles in the National League. He leads the team. And he swings at the first pitch and fouls it off down the line. '27-year-old. All-star with the A's last year. Talked a lot this season about his success hitting with runners in scoring position. That was the case last year, too. Not a new thing for Derek Norris. Has that knack.
Well, I was out here early today, and he was crushing the ball during batting practice. Speaking of using the whole field, Derek Norris doing just that. Has a plan during batting practice. Right field, right center field, pull the ball. Situational type hitting. There's a reason why he's second in the National League in doubles with 12 behind Matt Carpenter.
Strike 3 called. Hellickson paints, and Jim Joyce rings up Derek Norris. 2 away here in the second.
You see where Hellickson wanted to go, down and away. Watch the glove of Ghost Wish, and it looks like it comes back and catches that outside corner. Is it high enough? Right at the knees. Tough thing for a catcher as well, because you really can't complain, because you're going to want that call for your guy.
You file it away, right? Go back to the dugout, say, okay, we can work out there too. We can work down there. Will Venable making his 5th start of the season, and he takes a pitch right on the corner for strike 1. Last saw Will in a starting role Tuesday at San Francisco. Hits that one well out to right field. Trumbo's going back. That's all he can do. Will Venable with his 3rd home run of the season. He got the start in center field tonight, and he contributes. Just the 3rd homer Hellickson has allowed all season long, and it was an absolute rocket to right. 1-0 Padres.
We saw some mistakes being crushed last night by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Will Venable got a serious mistake right there. And off the bat, that sound, no chance. 0-1 fastball, a hanger. Foot was down, hands were back. Barrel that bat, going through that hitting zone. Nice swing all the way around from Will Venable.
Amarista first pitch swinging. That's got to feel good for Will Venable. He's been a little bit of a funk. Been a while since his last hit. And he did not miss that one from Jeremy Hellickson. So, you know, like we told you, Hellickson gives up runs in the first inning, doesn't allow homers, and here in the second, the Padres homer. Just like you drew it up. Another foul ball off the bat of Amarista, 0-2.
You mentioned a really good feeling for Will Venable. I'm trying to look back in my book. You might know this off the top of your head, but the last time that he started.
Tuesday, I believe, in San Francisco. Cinco de Mayo.
You are correct, sir. So a few days off, couple days off, getting a start. Good for him. Good way to start off your big league night.
1-2 to Alexi. Marista had 3 hits in the Giants series. Trying to bring the batting average back over 200. Hellickson just missing, low outside. 2-2. Hellickson missed the first 3 months of last season after having arthroscopic elbow surgery. Ended up starting 13 games for the Rays. Went 1-5. An ERA of about 4.5. And then traded to the Diamondbacks in November. And Marista to left field. Peralta coming over and making the catch. And that's the 3rd out of the inning. The Padres, though, strike against Hellickson. Will Venable with his 3rd home run of this season. A rocket to right. And the Padres have a 1-0 lead in Phoenix.
Puts the Padres up 1-0 here in the bottom of the 2nd, and as we said, Will Myers getting his first major league start at first base. Buddy Black says he chose Will in that position because he likes his athleticism, called him one of the best athletes on this team, says he likes his quick arm, his quick hands. The corresponding move with that will be Abraham Almonte will come up from El Paso tomorrow. They chose Almonte because they wanted to keep a switch hitter, someone who can bat from the left side. You're losing that with Yonder Alonso going on the DL, guys.
Makes a lot of sense, Chris. Thanks a lot. David Peralta showing bunt there. I think a couple of reasons for that. One, the Padres are shifting against it, and you might expect teams to try and test Will Myers a little bit over at first base. And Kemp coming on and making the catch. 4 outs recorded by James Shields. No action yet over at first base for Will Myers.
And I'm sure he's really anxious to get into the action. I want to see him flash that glove over there. You know, Yonder Alonso worked diligently last year and this spring training. He picked a lot of balls. He's made some good plays over there at first base, picking balls from the infielders. And I'm sure Will Myers will be looking in that dugout quite a bit to get some help from Glenn Hoffman, Jose Valentin. There's Glenn Hoffman. Dave Roberts also chiming in as well.
Yasmani Tomas at the plate. He hit the ball that Alonso was injured on late in the game. 3 singles for Tomas last night. Scored twice. And he's handling himself really nicely at the plate.
You know, it's going to be an interesting facet of the game with Will Myers over first base. If there's a run around first, getting that throw from the pitcher on a pickoff, right? That's totally different.
Do you have to simplify things if you're James Shields?
I don't think so. I think
you
James
just got to roll with it.
Yes, he's got to have that confidence in Will Myers over at first base because I don't think James Shields can take away from him his game by throwing aggressively over to first base.
Strikes out Tomas, third strikeout of the night already, as the big third baseman was out in front.
Second baseman, number 2.
Got him with the yacker again. There it is. 12-6 curveball. And Tomas way out in front of it. Bad looking hack on a great looking pitch.
Chief Baseball Officer, the Arizona Diamondbacks, Tony La Russa, Hall of Famer, looking on. 2 outs, and Aaron Hill takes outside. 1-0. Did not see him in the game last night. Had a huge day Wednesday at Colorado. 4 for 5, 4 RBIs in the first game, and then a couple more hits in the second game of the doubleheader. Guess he earned that night off last night. Since we first saw the D-backs in spring training, the question has been how they're going to get enough playing time for some of their infielders, and they continue to try and figure that out, rotating guys in and out of the lineup pretty much every day.
And have a good feeling with whoever's out there. As I mentioned earlier, this team can catch the ball. Very excited youngster right there. That's why you bring your glove to the ballpark.
Did he get it or he didn't and he's frustrated?
He may be frustrated.
1-2 misses. Another curveball from Shields with 2 strikes.
That's the beauty of James Shields out there on the hill. 2-2 count. He can throw any one of those pitches. Might see a fastball away here, a changeup away.
Curveball just missing inside, kind of backed up on him. 3-2. Just missing. Pitch 5.
By a little bit.
A hair. That one's down. And the first walk and the first base runner for Arizona with 2 outs here in the second.
Pretty good layoff right there by Aaron Hill. It was a changeup, 3-2.
Shortstop Owings started at second base last night. Shortstop tonight. Came into yesterday's game, 1 for his last 12. Ended up going 2 for 3 with an RBI single, a double, a walk, and 2 runs scored.
It's a funny game, this game of baseball.
Everybody was hitting for the Snakes last night. Arizona 11 runs on 17 hits. Padres here this evening with an early lead thanks to Will Venable's homer in the top of this inning. Good couple days for that guy too. High outside. Shields looked a little bit frustrated with himself after that delivery.
Kind of pulling off that one a little bit.
Shields came into this game 48 strikeouts on the season, 4th most in all of baseball. He's already K'd 3 here tonight.
Well, the good ones can rebound after a bad pitch. They can feel their delivery, their release point, what they did mechanically wrong, and bounce back the very next pitch. James Shields, one of those pitchers.
He does, but Owings hits it well out to left center. Upton going back, looking up, and it's gone. 2-run homer for Chris Owings. His second of the season, and the Diamondbacks jump out in front here in the bottom of the second.
Now it looked like a 2-0 fastball, and James Shields wants it down and away, and that leaks up and in. And Chris Owings quick to that baseball on the inner half of the plate for the 2-run shot.
2-out walk, 2-out homer, and the catcher goes a wish, takes strike 1. Shields got Peralta to line out to start the inning. Struck out Tomas. And it looked like it was going to be an uneventful second. Then a nice at bat by Aaron Hill to walk, and Chris Owings a 2-run homer.
James Shields upset with that pitch. 2 Owings, the 2-run shot. Wants to take it out on the baseball. Yes, he did.
Takes it out on Gozawish instead. That's his 4th strikeout. The Diamondbacks, though, jump out in front. They have a 2-1 lead after a 2-run homer from Chris Owings. By Geico. How about the trade deadline? 2013, the Padres acquired Ian Kennedy from the Diamondbacks in exchange for reliever Joe Thatcher, a minor leaguer, and a draft pick, and it has worked out very, very nicely for the Padres. Ian Kennedy, one of the anchors of this rotation. Nice start the other day in San Francisco as he picked up a win over the Giants. He had to pitch in this place for a couple of years. Not an easy thing to do.
You really like what you saw when you saw Ian Kennedy pitching for other teams. And you really appreciate him even more now that he wears a Padre uniform. Seeing once every 5th day.
James Shields will lead off against Jeremy Hellickson. And he takes strike 1. Shields with a couple of hits so far this season. Facing his former teammate with the Tampa Bay Rays.
James Shields starting with the open stance as he peers at his former teammate, as you mentioned, Jesse. But then he squares up. He looks very hitterish at the plate, James Shields.
Yeah, and the results have been there. Swings a good bat. 1-2.
That's paint.
Got him. 3rd strikeout for Hellickson, and it's time now for the cold hard facts, which are brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. How about that? That's a lot of wins between Shields and Hellickson in 2010, 11, and 12. 71 wins and a combined ERA of 3.5.
You know what that does to a ball club when you've got guys like Shields and Hellickson putting up numbers like that every 5 days? There are feelings when you have win days, and then there are feelings when you have win days with those types of starters.
Makes a big difference as Will Myers swings and misses at the first offering from Hellickson. Second straight night the roof is open here in Phoenix. And they're bullish about tomorrow, too. Know that there was quite a bit of rain in San Diego today, and yesterday we had some rain here too in Phoenix. Cleared up nicely. Beautiful night for baseball. Always good to see the Friar faithful on the road.
Always people from San Diego enjoying the desert, coming over and supporting the troops. Some chirping going on.
And Buddy Black came a couple of steps out of the dugout. He was having a brief conversation with Jim Joyce.
Bud Black has a look of concern as he looks out, as well as Matt Kemp looking out at Will Myers.
1-2. It looked like he held up on his swing. He did. First base umpire Greg Gibson says he did not go around. Myers hits that one well out to right. Trumbo drifting and makes the catch chest high. Trying to figure out what's going on with Will Myers. Take a look at one of the swings in this at bat here. And certainly Buddy Black watches everything carefully, and a little bit of a wince. I think that might have been what prompted the Padre manager to come out of the dugout, check on his leadoff man, and yeah, he's going to head down into the clubhouse for a closer look. Spangenberg takes high. Nice little stretch. Been playing every day. That certainly helps.
More reps. It's like a quarterback under center, getting more reps, getting more snaps, feeling more comfortable.
Walked his first time up. Two and one. Outside ball 3. And Corey Spangenberg draws a 2-out walk. He has reached by the base on balls twice in his first 2 plate appearances. Closed captioning for tonight's game is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. So Spangenberg not only reaches, but he keeps the inning alive for Matt Kemp.
Remember, first time around for Matt Kemp against Hellickson, everything was down. He fell behind 2-0. Then he went soft 3 times, and then up the ladder with the fastball.
Kemp has been very productive as a close play at first base. Chip Hale looking back, seeing if he might want to challenge this close play at first base involving Spangenberg. Tough to tell. He will not challenge. Spangenberg's got speed. He's only tried to steal twice so far this year. Successful 1 time.
It looks like Hellickson has a quick move as well, kind of a hop move, right? throws darts over there to first base. And you never know. When they were teammates in Tampa Bay, Jeremy Hellickson may have asked James Shields for a little bit of help. Hey, you got such a great move. Help me out. Give you some pointers.
Knowing what we know about James Shields, it is very likely that happens. Spangenberg's going, goes to his throw, not even close. Great jump by Corey Spangenberg. More than enough speed, and he steals his second base of the year. And now man in scoring position for Kemp.
He got a good jump. Looked like it was a breaking ball as well, and the throw from Gozowish is up. Pop-up slide, stay on the bag. Yes, he does.
Kemp swings, and that's up the middle for a base hit. Spangenberg is rounding third. He's going to come in and score. Matt Kemp drives in his 19th run of the season, a 2-out RBI single, and the Padres tie it here in the third.
The stolen base is huge for San Diego as Matt Kemp stays inside that baseball, gets the hands through. The shift, when you look at Owings, he's playing him the pull. Big hole, and with the speed of Corey Spangenberg, he scores easily to knot it up at 2.
Last night, the Diamondbacks scored 8 times with 2 outs. Their 2-run homer in the second inning tonight with 2 outs. Will Venable's home run earlier in this game with 2 outs. And now this RBI single from Matt Kemp with 2 outs.
I see where you're going.
It's a trend, a theme. So Kemp ties it up, and now Justin Upton. Kemp had a running start over at first base. And
yes, he did.
Hellickson with a very long pause eventually just stepped off.
You could hear the Diamondbacks yelling "step off" all the way up here.
Upton hammers that one to left field. Peralta coming over, looking up. It's in the corner there. Kemp is rounding third, and now he'll be stopped at third. Justin Upton with a double as the ball rolls towards Gozowish.
He hit that in the worst possible spot at this ballpark. You mentioned it last night, Jesse. Down the left field line, it jets out. Very quirky angle. Two-seamer. He turns on it quickly. So short, quick to the baseball, and hits it to that little corner right there. It darts out. Peralta gives up on it because he cannot get to it. He plays the carom.
What, another foot to the left, and it's a home
yes.
run? So Upton, who homered off Hellickson back at Petco last month, hits a rocket that just barely stays in the yard. More 2-out trouble here in this series. Solarte is going to come up with runners on second and third. Well, it's good to see the bats going tonight. Just 3 hits last night for San Diego. And one of the best guys in baseball with runners in scoring position so far this year. It's not a terribly small sample size either, 22 at bats. Gozowish keeps it in front. Kemp at third. And Justin Upton at second base against Jeremy Hellickson.
Tremendous confidence in Gozowish to call that curveball with that runner on third base. And as a pitcher, you can't guide it up there. You don't want to hang it. Throw one of your better curveballs. And that's what he did on that first pitch.
Missing, 2-0.
Interesting to see this next pitch where it is. First base is open. Righty Norris is on deck. And Hellickson and Gozowish know the numbers of Solarte from the left side.
Time called at the plate. Yeah, Solarte a switch hitter. numbers from the left side as compared to the right. Certainly better.
More at bats from the left side, obviously.
A lot more, but a .350 average batting left-handed, just .150 from the right side.
And that changeup tells you a lot.
There's Norris. Two-one to Solarte. Is hit on the ground, but pretty much right at Hill. Makes the routine play, and that's the third out of the inning. The Padres, though, they tie it up. Nat Kemp, an RBI single off of Hellickson, bringing Corey Spangenberg home. Padres tie it 2-2 as we go to the bottom of the third. Alexi Amarista last night, really nice play short.
We are going to take a look at Amarista going to his left, going to his right. How far does he go on this play? 46.5 feet to grab this one. Now watch, turn towards the glove side, fire over to first base. A beautiful play. Let me tell you something, folks. When you're hitting 197, you better do something with the leather. Alexi is doing that. He is not bringing his bat out to the shortstop position and worrying about it. Well, first of all, because he wouldn't be able to field the ball. But Will Myers over at first base tonight, he'll be dealing with his shortstop. Some throws from that position.
Good to see Myers back out there
Yes.
after it looked like he might have gotten hurt in the top half of this inning, swinging the bat. Buddy Black appeared to be concerned about him, but they checked him out, and he checked out. 1-1 to Hellickson, and a little bit low. 2 balls and a strike. Hellickson 1 for 9 on the season, a couple of career hits and 15 at bats. Like Shields spending all of his career until this season in the American League. Gets it on the ground. A third, kind of backs up on Solarte, and he has it going to left field. Awkward moment for Solarte at the hot corner.
This one does eat him up. But I think it's one that Solarte may have tried if he had another chance to go play it. He let the ball play him a little bit rather than trying to charge that one and get it on the short hop. Rather played it back and got it on that in-between hop.
Giving Hellickson a base hit. His second of the season. So the leadoff man aboard for the Diamondbacks, and the leadoff hitter, A.J. Pollock, takes strike one. Pollock flew out to left field his first time up.
See, now when I look at that play, looking at it objectively, I think that's a play that has to be made.
We talked at the beginning of the game about Buddy Black having to manage things and move guys around. Certainly an example of it over at third base. Venable makes the catch. One away. Here's Mark Trumbo with 1 out, runner on first. And, you know, for a guy like Solarte or a guy like Spangenberg and now Myers, no matter what your quote-unquote natural position is, right? Anytime you're having to move around, do different things on different days, you're taken out of your routine. It's going to be more difficult than playing in the same spot every day. It's just the reality.
It is the position that he has played most, 111 games prior to this year at third base.
Trumbo struck out his first time up as you see Hellickson with a very small lead over at first.
Now that's like Little League.
Hellickson knows all about the James Shields pickoff move. Trumbo had been hitting farther down in the order for the Diamondbacks until a couple of days ago. Second game of the doubleheader on Wednesday, he was in the 2-hole and he homered. They did it again yesterday, and he homered. And so here he is for a third consecutive game, batting second for Chip Hale.
Did you see that last inside pitch by James Shields? Trumbo, it's almost Trumbo didn't even budge. Pitch number 3, way inside. See if he tries to change up on him here.
Curveball, and he swings and misses. 2-2.
For Trumbo, fastballs, bats like very much. Curveballs, very afraid.
Goldschmidt's bats, not afraid of much. He has hats for bats.
Keeps bats warm. And I think that's why. Another curveball here. You
got it. Oh, James Shields, 5 strikeouts.
That is some pitching right there, folks, and realizing the weakness of Mark Trumbo. Why throw him a fastball? You don't have to. Has trouble with the breaking ball. He goes right back to it. Takes him out of his rhythm. Bad looking hack. Great looking pitch.
You know, Shields, when he was talking about using the curveball more with 2 strikes as opposed to the changeup, he says, look, you don't really know what it's going to be like till you get out there on a given night.
Right.
And tonight appears to be one of those nights. It's all about the curve. 0-1 as we take a look at our T-Mobile game changer. Paul Goldschmidt, in the last 9 games, he's hitting .463. Healthy numbers for Goldie.
With the Buster Posey look-alike stance.
That one breaks in. Strike 2. Shields normally about 60% in the first pitch strike department.
That could be overrated sometimes, don't you think?
Sure. Can't hurt though. Couple of paint jobs there, but this one's lined into left field, and Upton's got to play it on a hop. Paul Goldschmidt on 0-2 got one he could handle, and he hits it to left. And more 2-out action for the Diamondbacks.
Well, it's a bad thing. It's a hanging breaking ball. It's a good thing he keeps him in the yard. Off the end of the bat. Station to station baseball with 2 outs, a force now at any base.
Peralta, good numbers in this situation. Had a huge night last night. Career high 4 hits. Lined out to right field his first time up, and he takes strike 1. Ten of 13 first pitch strikes now.
I'll take that.
Pitcher Hellickson led off the inning. Hit a hot shot over to third base that Solarte could not handle. It went into left field for a base hit. After Pollock flew to center, Trumbo struck out, and a 2-out single from Goldschmidt. 0-2 to Peralta, just gets a piece. James Shields making his 7th start of the season.
Remember, he had Goldschmidt 0-2.
Changeup misses low. James Shields struck out 2 men in the first inning, 2 men in the second. Trying to finish off Peralta and the Diamondbacks here in the bottom of the 3rd. The 1-2, and it's high. Fastball out of the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Arizona left fielder. Ellickson and Goldschmidt on the bases. Peralta at the plate. And the 2-2 from James Shields. Tipped. Took a bite out of Norris. Now,
he's been getting beat up this year. Also, you want to be a catcher, huh? Foul tip.
Thigh, maybe.
Right in the cup.
Takes a moment as James Shields and home plate umpire Jim Joyce tough dude.
Sure is. Jim Joyce still giving Derek Norris some time.
I guess catchers are allowed to laugh, right? Like if anybody's allowed to laugh on the bench when something like that happens, it can be another catcher.
Yeah.
Because he's been there.
Sure.
And he'll be there again. Not to say he was definitely laughing at Norris. Someone could have said something, but still.
Yeah, someone said something about Norris that made him laugh.
Not the first time, won't be the last. Shields trying to make this the last pitch of the inning.
Everything's down.
3-2, and it's grounded weakly to Spangenberg. And that is the 3rd out of the inning. Derek Norris taking some heat behind the plate, but he's going to get an opportunity to come up and do some damage at the plate. He leads off the 4th. Padres and Diamondbacks battling in the desert. Mike Pomerantz, Steve Finley, thank you very much.
Good topic of discussion there, Cole Hamels. If in fact he is dealt, I'll tell you one thing, the one team he goes to, the price tag should be higher. A lot of prospects, right?
Well, you heard his name kicked around a lot in spring training and even before spring training. Hot stove season. And
how about the Cardinals?
Sure.
Now that Wainwright's down.
The issue then was that it sounded like what the Phillies were asking was a price that nobody was willing to pay. And I don't know that they're going to bring the price down anytime soon. He'll be one of those big names, though, late July.
Stay tuned.
2-0 to Derek Norris. Struck out looking his first time up. Hammers that one foul. Look out in the lower level here at Chase Field. It's easy to talk about catchers taking a beating back there and everything that goes along with it, but it's amazing. You got to come back to the plate very next inning sometimes like this and focus on hitting a 90 whatever mile-an-hour fastball.
Not only that, but think about as the season goes on, the humidity gets up, the heat gets up, and you got to swing that bat after squatting behind home plate, calling pitches, and getting beat up.
Cool night here tonight, so that helps him out. 2-2 to Norris is up the middle. Hellickson got it. It almost happened in slow motion. Pitcher reaching down, making the catch, one away.
Hellickson ends up in a good fielding position as a pitcher, and he reaches all the way across his body. You know, that ball was not squared up, and you could see converging behind him, Owings and Hill. I don't know whether that ball would have scooted through. That's why he's got the gold label on his glove.
That's it.
The Rawlings Gold Glove winner, Jeremy Hellickson. It's one of the cool things about receiving that award. You get your glove, you get the gold label and the gold R.
One of just 2 pitchers ever to win the Gold Glove and the Rookie of the Year. Will Venable, first time up against Hellickson tonight. Big bomb to right field. 3rd home run of the season for Will. Gave the Padres a 1-0 lead back in the 2nd.
That was nearly halfway up the bleachers out in right field, and the hit speed 105.8. Smash hits coming your way on your FM dial.
2-1.
Pulled the string on him there. Guarantee you one thing, Hellickson's not going to try to sneak a little fastball by him down the middle of the plate. Bad location, and Will capitalized on it.
By the way, the only other pitcher to win Rookie of the Year and a Gold Glove, Fernando. Venable to left field this time. Peralta's going over. He's not going to have a play. It's off the base of the wall. Venable's at second. He's thinking third as the ball rolls away. He's got 3. Will Venable, a stand-up triple. He's 2 for 2.
The 2 hardest out of the way to hit for the cycle for Will Venable. Home run, first time up. Triple, going the opposite way. Once again, taking advantage of a high off-speed pitch. The fastball for the home run pulled. The off-speed pitch going the opposite way. And the advantage of the carom goes to Will Venable and the Padres. A stand-up triple.
Never slowed down as he approached second base and able to make it to third easily. Well then.
Talk about being staying tuned, right? Get field in.
1 out, runner on third, Amarista at the plate. Pitcher Shields on deck, and Hellickson's first is a called strike. A couple of good cycle ballparks in the National League West.
Yes. Colorado Arizona, of course.
It was a good pitch for strike one. They want this one down, and Alexei takes it. 1-1. So when a guy goes in order, single, double, triple, homer, they call it the natural cycle, right? What is it? What if he does it in reverse order?
Reverse cycle.
Unnatural? No. With the pitcher on deck, good bunter at the plate. Got some options here for Buddy if he wants to get a little bit interesting with it. What do you think?
Not a bad idea.
Takes in the dirt again. 2-1.
We've got the breaking ball from Hellickson. Chance for a wild pitch. Shields is not a bad hitter on deck. 2-1 might not be a bad. Well, 2-1. Pretty much a fastball count, but with the pitcher on deck. Let's see if we can hear the whisper of Glenn Hoffman.
On the ground, nice stop at second by Hill. He comes home, not in time. Venable slid right through Gozawish, and the Padres take a 3-2 lead. Good effort by the Arizona second baseman, but Venable with too much speed. And the Padres are on top here in the fourth.
And as soon as that ball was struck, he is off and running. Let's take a look. To Hopper. And that throw just up a little bit. Gozawish has to reach up, come all the way back down, and by that time, the foot first slide takes the foot of Gozawish off of home plate. Jim Joyce points and says he scored. He is in there.
Nice night for Will Venable. Homer, triple, scoring on a ground ball to the second baseman who was playing in. Alexei picks up his 6th RBI of the season. And now James Shields comes to the plate for the second time tonight. Great effort by Hill at second base, and maybe someone a tick or two slower than Will Venable, and they get him. Mark mentioned the defensive prowess of this Diamondback team, something they take pride in. Windy night in Phoenix.
Hunt down the first baseline right here.
Swinging, runner going, and the throw down to second gets him.
Play a hit and run with that swing from James Shields. Hit and run, you're swinging no matter what happens, no matter where that ball is. Worst case scenario, try to foul it off. Ball looked like it hit the dirt, maybe. Whatever it was, Gozawish makes a nice throw. Decent jump. Flash look. Oh, he slowed up a little bit.
That allows the third baseman Tomas to back up. Not thinking about the bunt anymore with 2 outs, nobody on base, and Shields takes the breaking ball inside. 1-1. Buddy Black was asked about 2 starting pitchers facing one another who are friends and teammates and what that's like for the pitchers. He's like, yeah, it's cool for us. I don't know that anybody else cares. It was neat for us. Nice swing from Shields. Fouls it back.
I think, personally speaking, I went a little bit over the top when it was pitching against a friend. You want bragging rights.
Nice to see the Padre fan get the souvenir. Kept the beverage intact too. Shields reaches down for that one and lines it to Tomas, who makes the catch. Well struck by James Shields, but Yasmani Tomas snags the liner for the 3rd out of the inning. Will Venable, a triple off the wall. He comes in to score on a ground ball from Alexei Amarista. Nice slide at the plate, and the Padres take a 3-2 lead in Phoenix. Only 25 miles from Petco Park. And by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazin' Chicken Sandwich. Nightfall in the desert. And the Padres now with a 3-2 lead on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Future Padres. Got the Angels hat, the Padres shirt.
Very nice.
Representing Southern California nicely. Yasmani Tomas made a nice catch on a James Shields line drive to end the top of this inning. He leads off. Will be followed by Hill and Owings. Tomas takes strike one from James Shields, who's allowed 2 runs on 3 hits so far tonight. One and one. Tomas fouls that one off at the plate. Shields struck him out first time up. Tomas last night 3 singles, scored twice. And he takes outside 2-2.
Remember last night Tomas singled in the first inning on a hanging breaking ball. Hit it through that 5.5 hole. Tonight, the breaking ball Shields has thrown, really opening up that front side. On that one right there, he did it. A little bit too quick opening up.
Your observation of Tomas at the plate back in spring training again last night. A lot of balls hit the other way.
In fact, after that hit to left field, both of his hits the rest of the night were to right field.
Now a full count, 3-2. Yeah, productive night last night for Tomas. 3 singles, a couple runs, also struck out and popped up to the right side. Payoff pitch to Yasmani Tomas, and he hammers it to right. Matt Kemp over towards the line, makes the catch in fair territory. 1 away. Well, James Shields came to San Diego with a reputation for a lot of things, and this would certainly be one of the most complete games since 2011. He leads the way in front of guys like Kershaw and Wainwright. And with Tampa Bay, later Kansas City, he was a guy that you could count on being able to go the distance.
You know, the one thing I look at that, James Shields, American League, DH. Kershaw, Wainwright, you have to hit for him.
Hill sharply struck to Amaristo. High throw, nice job by Will Myers. Well, if you can believe it, that is the first ground out of the night for the Diamondbacks. Second ground out of the night for the Diamondbacks. And so our first real test for Will Myers over at first. And a nice play on a less than perfect throw.
Well, it helps being 6'3" over at first base. Alexi kind of works underneath this one, and the tiptoe. The extension from the big fella. Staying on the bag.
Peralta grounded out to second to end the third. It was a very, very routine play over on the right side. That one a little bit different. Myers more than handles his own. 2 away as Owings comes to the plate. Shields and Owings did battle back in the second inning, and the Arizona shortstop won it with a homer to left. This one a fly ball to left. Upton's there, and a 1-2-3 inning for James Shields. We'll go to the 5th here in Phoenix. 3-2 Padres. started in this one, his third home run of the season. That was with 2 outs in the second inning, giving the Padres a 1-0 lead. Chris Owings, though, would answer back for the Diamondbacks. A 2-run shot to left center off of James Shields, his second homer of the year. 2-1 Diamondbacks. Matt Kemp, though, got a little something started in the third. An RBI single to bring home Corey Spangenberg. And then Alexi Amarista's fielder's choice RBI, plating Will Venable, who had tripled and came in to score. Padres a 3-2 lead as a pair of former Rays teammates, Jeremy Hellickson and James Shields, do battle. Top of the order as another former Ray, Will Myers, steps in. Made a nice play over at first base last inning. And good to see him still in the ball game. His last at bat in the third looked like he might have tweaked something, but obviously good enough to stay in.
That's a good sign.
Myers hits that one well to left field, and you can forget it. Up over the bullpen. A monster shot. 5th home run of the season for Will Myers. And a big night at the plate for the Padre first baseman as San Diego extends the lead 4-2. No doubter.
Second baseman, Corey Spangenberg.
Talk about dropping the head on that shillelagh, down and in. Listen to this. Is this on the sweet spot, by the way?
Confirmed.
Wow.
Nice way to start the inning. Spangenberg takes outside, 1-0. I guess Will's feeling all right.
That's dropping some head right there. Alonzo Pyle hard holding back the smiles.
Myers 2 for 3 now. Single and a homer.
It's not easy getting to that pitch where he hit that ball. Keeping it fair as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. 2-1 to Spangenberg. Myers 5 home runs, 4 of them were solo shots. 1 led off a game, that one led off an inning. Part of being the leadoff guy, I guess. And that's probably why you hear a lot of people say, hey, down the line, whether it's next year, a couple of years from now, maybe Will Myers not a leadoff guy forever. He's got the power to be a middle of the order bat.
That was impressive.
Meanwhile, Spangenberg ahead in the count, 3-1, and he hits it well out to right center. Pollock chasing, looking up, and it's off the top of that wall. Spangenberg's rounding second. He never slowed down and will get to third base easily. Second triple of the night for the Padres, and that one just missed going out. As Steve Finley back in the studio knows, it can get weird in center field here at Chase.
It get really weird. Getting extended, Corey Spangenberg. And Corey, with that speed, he's going to wait till that ball gets over. If in fact it's going to get over, because he's in a dead sprint. That's maybe a couple feet. Watch where this ball changes direction, just below the yellow line there.
I think it was on the yellow padding, right? Like the side of it.
Kind of tough to tell there. You know, even if it hits the yellow, it's got to go over.
Right. Looks like they're not going to challenge it. And I think it got the side facing there. 7 hits for the Padres tonight, 5 of them for extra bases. A couple homers, a couple triples, and a double. Matt Kemp, an RBI single his last time up. Take another look at where this thing hits. Yeah, right on the side of the yellow there.
On the bottom portion of that yellow, you're right.
0-2. Venable, a homer and a triple. Spangenberg, couple walks and a triple. Myers, a homer and a single. Good night for the bats as he grounds that one to the left side. Tomas ends up with it. The third baseman and the shortstop were very much on top of one another. Spangenberg has to hold at third, one away. Owings and Tomas basically meeting at the ball. And the third baseman, Tomas, came up with it, made the throw.
Yeah, that's an overmatch over there with Tomas and Owings. Converging, colliding. After Owings did not come up with that ball, he goes over to third base to cover as Tomas was completing the play.
Fundamental thing to do. Upton doubled his last time up, 1 for 2. Infield back in for the Diamondbacks as he takes outside, ball 1. Second time tonight, Chip Hale has brought his infield in. First time, it didn't matter. Amarista hit a ball to second. Hill made a nice diving stop, but could not throw Will Venable out at the plate. RBI situation for Upton. Can't hold a swing there. 1-1.
Jesse, got a question for you.
All right.
When's the last time you saw an arbiter positioned there? I know he doesn't, with the infield in, I know he's the second base umpire. So if he's here, he would be in the obstruction of the hitter, right? So, I mean, he's shifting. When's the last time you saw the umpire shift?
Yeah, he's playing shortstop. Marvin Hudson, the second base umpire. Yeah, that's a good observation.
Well, thanks to our statistician, Russ. Got to give credit where credit is due. And the Upton Funk homemade sign making a play here in Arizona. Looking for a big hit.
And they get a little dribbler out in front of the mound. Hellickson tries to flip it home, and he can't. Hey, they all count the same. Padres add another 5-2 here in the 5th. Once again, the speed of Corey Spangenberg paying dividends.
Couldn't have placed it any better. Way out in front. Hellickson trying to play a little highlight right there. And on the scoop, it's not going to happen. Justin Upton will gladly take that infield hit and RBI.
22nd run batted in this season for Upton. He leads the Padres. Yangervis Solarte. Padres have now scored in 4 straight innings. Andrew Chafin, left-hander, up for the Diamondbacks in that left field bullpen. Hellickson very deliberate on the mound, huh?
Steve Traxel like, going back a few years. Rafael Betancourt like.
Still just 1 out. Long pause, and he eventually just steps off. Justin Upton, 5 steals and 5 tries this year. One to notice Solarte. Hey, look, Marvin Hudson, the second base umpire. Remember where he was a minute ago? So much that goes into being an umpire that goes probably completely undetected by most people. Solarte holds off that one. 2 balls, no strikes.
And sometimes hitters will suggest and ask an umpire, hey, would you be so kind as to move over to the other side, or just so, you know, especially if there's a left-handed pitcher coming this way, right, that way, this guy would probably go over here, per the request of the hitter. And they are willing to do that. They have feelings too.
They're people. Check on Upton. Umpires, they've got their own set of hand signals they do over the course of the game as they prepare themselves in between at bats.
Let's say there's a close pitch down and away around the corner, and the umpire calls it a strike, and there's some dispute maybe with the hitter. The second base umpire will inadvertently just kind of clap his hands a little bit, saying that, you know what, you made the right call. In an argument, if an umpire starts to mosey on towards the argument, that will give the arguing umpire a chance to say, well, you know what, maybe you're right. Let's talk to the other umpires.
Solarte taking all the way on 3-0.
I mean, as you said, umpires are people too. They've got feelings. I say hug an ump. If you see one, show your appreciation. It's a hard job. It's a thankless job. They're trying the best they can. See if Hellickson goes soft here and goes fastball away, 3-1. Fastball count.
Hit into right field for a base hit. Upton is not going to stop at second. Makes it easily to third base. Yangervis Solarte joins the hit parade for the Padres. Runners on the corners with Derek Norris coming up.
Well, he got his fastball 3-1, and with Goldschmidt holding on the runner at first base, there's that big hole on that right side. Shuffle, shuffle. I love the first and third action. As pitching coach Mike Harkey has a visit.
Second time tonight we've seen Harkey out there to talk with his starting pitcher. You pointed this out last night. He's very animated out there when he talks.
Certainly is. A lot of hand gestures, shrugging of the shoulders, a lot of encouragement from that man, Mike Harkey.
Padres now 5 runs on 8 hits. This after they were shut out on just 3 hits last night. Will Myers opened this inning up with a solo homer. Corey Spangenberg tripled. After Matt Kemp ground out, Justin Upton, a fielder's choice RBI. Single by Solarte. Runners on the corners, 1 gone, and Derek Norris at the plate. Takes the first pitch, low outside, 1-0.
Well, we have just received word that the roof will be closing at the end of the 5th after the Diamondbacks hit in their bottom half of the 5th. Maybe some weather coming our way.
Fastball strike, 1-1. That is permitted within the rules. You know, each retractable roof ballpark has its own set of guidelines and rules for Major League Baseball. So the rules here not necessarily the same as in Miami or Milwaukee or Seattle. Kind of an interesting little corner of the baseball world. I believe they close it in what, 2 phases here? Is that what it is? 1 phase, they're telling me. 5 minutes, just like a closet door. Shut it.
Right. Takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you just say that?
Yeah. You can say it again, though. It's worth repeating. Here, I'll ask you. How long does it take him to close the roof here?
5 minutes.
Yeah.
See if Derek Norris thinks right center field right here against Hellickson. It's a pitch away.
That's where Gozawish sets up, but it misses down and in. 3 balls and a strike to the Padre catcher. And Hellickson, he just looks all kinds of uncomfortable out there.
Very methodical.
(3-1) to Norris is hit in the air left field. Peralta lining it up. Upton tagging, not going to be deep enough for him to go anywhere. 2 away. Will Venable coming up, and so far, Mark Grant, it has been a very eventful evening for the Padres center fielder. Home run in his first at bat, back at the top of the 2nd inning, and then in the top of the 4th inning, hits this one, just misses the homer, and after the bounce, ends up on 3rd base with a triple. And that's going to be it for Jeremy Hellickson as Chip Hale comes out for a pitching change. Will Venable, halfway to the cycle, is up. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Padres up 3. Other MLB games in action tonight, including Yordano Ventura's return from suspension. Will we see more fireworks as he takes on David Price and Detroit, plus NBA and NHL playoffs? The Rangers trying to stave off elimination going into the weekend. Change your channel to Fox Sports 1 for Fox Sports Live after our game here tonight. Andrew Chafin, the left-hander, is out there. Pitching change brought to you by El Cajon Ford.
Andrew Chafin, a fastball slider, changeup left-hander, 90 to 94. And this season, this being his 11th game, he has 1 victory.
Will Venable 2 for 2, homer and a triple, and now he's got to face the lefty.
Strikeout pitcher. 10 strikeouts over his last 5 games. That's 9 innings for Andrew Chafin.
Padres have hit left-handed pitching very well this season. As Solarte goes from first, Gozawish will not make a throw, and the Padres steal another base.
Well, the chance for the Padres to make some hay right here. 2 runners now in scoring position. Hey, Will Venable went the other way earlier with the triple. See if he stays on that pitch, and if Chafin goes down and away and he takes him to left field.
Inside, ball 2. 6 hits so far this season for Venable, 4 of them for extra bases. 3 homers and the triple. Got to imagine Venable's going to see a little bit more action as a starter. With the injury to Alonso, Myers going over to first base. Quite a start in front of Buddy Black tonight. Upton at third, Solarte at second. 2-1 coming to Venable. And he tops it foul.
Went with a 2-1 breaking ball.
Alexi Amarista is due next. Chafin working from the extreme third base side of the rubber.
Going from the third base side of the pitcher's plate. If you're hearing an echo on your TV, it's not a problem.
Nice night for both Spangenberg and Myers. 2-2 to Venable is low. Ball 3. Nice tough at bat against the left-hander Chafin. Made his big league debut last season for the Diamondbacks. Started 3 games for Arizona. Now he and his stash coming out of the pen. (3-2) to Venable. Broken bat, little roller to shortstop. Owings has trouble with it, picks it up, and he got it. So Will Venable, after homering and tripling in his first 2 at-bats, grounds out to end the inning, but Will Myers getting a start at first base tonight, connecting with a solo homer leading off the top of this 5th inning. Padres have a 5-2 lead in Phoenix. We check the DraftKings players to watch from the pregame show. Aaron Hill from our game selected. He has scored a run, so some points there. Roberto Hernandez pitching for the Astros. I'm a Sonny Gray fan. It's fun to watch for the A's. James Shields got a 3-run lead as he delivers to Tuffy Gozowich, leading off the bottom of the 5th.
Go to DraftKings.com with promo code Friars to play your part.
I just said that. Okay. 0-1 to the Arizona catcher. 0-for-1 with a strikeout. As Mark told you a moment ago, when the bottom half of this inning comes to a close, they are going to close the roof here at Chase Field. Cool, windy night in Phoenix. Had rain earlier in the day. Night game tomorrow night, although a little bit earlier than yesterday and today. And then on Sunday afternoon, Mother's Day, a 1:10 first pitch. 0-2 to Gozawish. Gets a piece of that one, fouls it off outside of third.
Oh, James Shields not too happy with that last pitch. An 0-2 hanging breaking ball. He's got to get that breaking ball down. There you go.
Gozawish lays off. 5 strikeouts for James Shields, whose teammates have supplied him with 5 runs of support. His former teammate Jeremy Hellickson chased by the Padres in the top of this inning. Hellickson goes 4 2/3, allows 5 runs on 8 hits, a couple of homers. 2-2. Danny Dorn has come into the on-deck circle for Arizona. He'll hit for Chafin. Got it. Painted the outside corner with the fastball. That's strikeout number 6 for James Shields.
When you look at pitchers and they have different mechanics and do different things, this is James Shields throwing on a Sunday at home, and look at his head. Okay, look at how it's not even on target towards home plate, but it's almost like anything else. Look at this one. He's looking over towards first base, but looks like he's kind of fish-eyeing towards home plate. But the point I'm trying to make is you get so locked in with your mechanics and your release point. It's almost like once you're honed in on and you've got the crosshairs on your target to the plate, you could take your head off your target and you still know where you're going with your line. And the proof is there for James Shields, because prior to this year, eyes are on target, He's going now, it's starting to leak towards the first base side. But his release point is so consistent, he throws consistent strikes through his career. Going into this year, 1,910 innings pitched, only 452 walks. There's the proof right there.
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, from the first day of Little League, right? Look at where you're trying to send it.
You take a look at pitchers, a lot of pitchers out there, they will take their head off the target or their eyes off the target as they're starting to accelerate in a violent motion towards home plate, like James Shields.
I'm thinking of those extreme pitching, wind-ups we've seen. Dontrell Willis, Hideo Nomo,
Fernando,
Tiant, Fernando. And it always seemed like they kept, even as they twisted their bodies around, they always kind of kept the head and the eyes forward at home plate. This is a completely different thing where he's, like you say, he's off looking at first base. Get you caught up on another big night from Bryce Harper coming up. 3-1 is hit over to first base. Hey, there's Will Myers. Handles it with no problem. Dorn retired, 2 away.
Making it look easy over there for Will Myers. And he's hearing it from the dugout.
He's so much fun out there.
He really is. Okay, 1-2 right in front of him. Easy grounder. Will Myers is like, I'll take that all day, as Jose Valentin is giving him an earful over there at first base.
Myers, first major league start at first base. I think he totaled about 4 innings there with the Rays last year.
It's almost like the argument, what did they teach you in Little League? Watch the ball hit the bat right. Physically impossible, folks. It can't happen. Your eye cannot travel that fast to baseball to watch it hit the barrel of the bat. There's proof also. You see pictures of hitters when the ball, still photos, when the ball is on the barrel of the bat, the eyes are traveling about 5 or 6 feet behind the baseball. You cannot physically watch a ball hit the bat coming in at 90+ miles an hour.
Look.
Catchers, they always blink.
You always see their eyes closed when contact is made, and this one's contacted out to left. Upton looks up, and it's gone. What do you know? 2 outs in the inning and a run for the Diamondbacks. Pollock takes James Shields deep, his second homer of the year, and it's 5-3 San Diego. –
A 2-0 pitch. Knee high down the middle of the plate. And with the Padres scoring the 5 runs, gives James Shields a little bit of wiggle room.
Here's Trumbo, and he swings at the first pitch and hits it very high to left. Upton's got plenty of room out there. He makes the catch, and that's out number 3. A.J. Pollock, a 2-run homer, solo shot. 5-3 Padres after 5. Mike, Steve, thank you very much. Yeah, Bryce Harper, quite impressive right about now. 5 dingers in his last 2 games, and as the guy said, still a couple days for him to cool off before the Nats get to Petco for the start of the next homestand next week.
And I know it's a ways off, but that homestand, Bryce Harper's going to have to deal with the pitchers of the San Diego Padres, so he's going to have his work cut out for him.
I like the way you're talking. Roof is closing here in Phoenix. They say there is rain in the area. Randall Delgado, the new pitcher, and Alexi Amarista flies that one right center field. Pollock makes the catch, 1 away.
11th timeout for Randall Delgado. Nice ERA at 1.5. Almost a strikeout per innings pitch, and nice splits below 200, lefties and righties alike.
Delgado's been good as of late, 4 straight scoreless appearances. Last year pitched in 47 games for the Diamondbacks. As James Shields, 0 for 2 on the night, takes strike 1. Just about closed. I wonder where the button is. Or if it's like a lever.
It's out in left field. You got a guy on a treadmill. I think it's a hamster, actually.
I thought he was on a bike.
There he is right there.
He's in the engineering control room. Makes all the sense in the world. So he gets to hit the button. It's a cool job, right? You're the guy that gets to close the roof, or the gal. Shields swings and misses. 2 gone here in the 6th. Tonight's game is presented in HD by Sony 4K. It is a button. I like that it's under glass.
Which one is it? Oh, the one that says roof? But there's 3.
Did they just open it again?
That's the green one.
I see you got the weather radar there. It's pretty cool. I believe it is now all the way closed as Will Myers takes strike 1. Nice night for Will Myers and all of those of you who tweeted hashtag I'm with Enberg tonight. One and one. First baseman batting leadoff. And he's handled himself really nicely defensively so far. Fouls that one back. 1 and 2.
The one thing I'm very happy about is, remember the swing with the tweak of the back? Then he was looked at in between innings.
Back in the 3rd, yeah.
Then he comes back up and hits a home run. No problem with that back, no problem with that swing.
So I'll make a nice play at first base on a ground ball hit his way. Also, Aaron Hill, the ground ball to shortstop. Amarista made a throw that was a little bit high. Myers did a good job staying on the bag. Holds off 2 and 2. Delgado, the 3rd pitcher used by Chip Hale tonight. Hellickson started. Chafin got the final out in the 5th. And now Delgado, that's a fair ball down the left field line. Will Myers has a single, a homer, and now he's got a double. Three-hit night for the Padre leadoff man.
Out in front of the breaking ball, and with the way that Tomas was playing, not too nimble over there at third base. A reach, a double. So 2 Padres sniffing for the cycle. Myers and Venable.
Myers will try and triple, which would prevent him from becoming the 349th Padre to be 1 hit shy of the cycle, or at least the 349th occurrence. Venable's got the 2 tough ones, the homer and the triple. Spangenberg tripled. He's also walked twice, scored twice, stole a run. That one gets away from Gozawish.
Be nice for the Padres to get at least one of those back to make it 6-3.
Let's check in with Chris Button.
Hey, Jesse. Well, we've mentioned in the past that Corey Spangenberg has suffered some concussions. So when he's at the plate, he wears a mouth guard. The idea is that it absorbs anything between his teeth and takes the pressure off of it after he suffered the 2 concussions in the past. Trying to do anything he can to prevent it. You see a lot more batters recently wearing those mouth guards.
That's very interesting. And it's not just for tooth protection, obviously. It goes well beyond that. Out in front there, 2 and 1.
You'll see pitchers wear them as well.
Yeah. Spangenberg's been handling himself really nicely. Starting at second base tonight. Did the same yesterday.
Let's see a changeup right here.
And that just misses. 3 and 1.
Good pitch.
Full count as he can't connect with the changeup.
Just threw him 2 in a row. 3-1, 3-2. You throw him another one here? I say, why not?
They do, and it misses. Ball 4.
You can throw a hitter 3 fastballs in a row. Why not throw 3 changeups in a row? And that's what Delgado just did.
So a 2-out double by Myers. Now a walk by Spangenberg. Runners on the corners. And Matt Kemp coming up. Strikeout and a ground down for Kemp to go with the RBI single.
I'd like to see Matt lay into one here.
Just 1 home run so far this year. Came at Wrigley Field. Delgado last year, 47 appearances, 4-4 with a 4.87 ERA, 78 strikeouts.
Just thinking, maybe Corey, maybe try to steal a bag here.
Got one back in the 3rd. See the Padres run a couple of times on Kozovich.
If in fact he does, maybe a chance for Delgado to throw a fastball. He likes the changeup.
Okay, I'm still waiting for the first pitch of the at bat. And Delgado delivers a fastball outside. 1-0.
Fuzz at 94 for Delgado. Padre hitter's going to have to turn up the dial a little bit after facing Hellickson. A few ticks.
James Shields. 3 runs on 4 hits allowed. 6 strikeouts. Padres with 9 hits tonight, but just 1 coming with runners in scoring position. 2-1. Made up for it though with long balls and extra base hits.
See if we got some action right here with Corey Spangenberg at first base.
Doesn't go, and Kemp takes outside, ball 3. Well, Delgado working very carefully to Matt Kemp, but it doesn't get any easier. That guy's on deck. Swings and misses at the 3-1. Now a full count.
Infield to pull, outfield to go the opposite way.
Spangenberg goes now, and Kemp pops it up right side. Goldschmidt in foul territory makes the catch, and that is out number 3. Padres unable to add to the lead here in the 6th. the bats here in Phoenix. James Shields out to start the bottom half of the 6th inning. He's got a 2-run lead. Padres on top of the Diamondbacks 5-3 with Goldschmidt, Peralta, and Tomas 3, 4, and 5 in the Arizona batting order. Coming to the plate, the night after the Diamondbacks scored 8 runs with 2 outs. All 3 of their scores here this evening have come with 2 away. Goldschmidt 1 for 2. Singled his first time up, struck out in the first. And he takes high as see some frustration from Matt Kemp after that last at bat.
Yeah, Matt was not happy. That's some serious strength right there.
Goldschmidt with serious strength to left. Forget about it. Way back there. Paul Goldschmidt with his 9th home run of this season, and he is now homered in back-to-back games. 3rd homer of the night for Arizona.
(2-0) fastball missing middle in, and we know what happens when Paul Goldschmidt, 3rd time tonight that the Diamondbacks has hit a home run with a 2-0 count.
David Peralta takes low, ball 1. Now 1-run game. Peralta has lined out and grounded out. Shields up over 80 pitches now here in the 6th. Padres starter working quickly, and this one's hit well to right. Peralta's going to watch it go. Tie game. Diamondbacks go back-to-back to start the 6th. 4th homer of the night for Arizona.
Well, down and in, boy, that's amazing. If that ball is taken off the plate for a ball, but Peralta gets it out far enough on that breaking ball, speeds up his bat, and he goes deep to right field.
First time this year Arizona has hit back-to-back homers, and here's Yasmani Tomas. He's got some pop, and he takes strike 1. Diamondbacks yet to lose at home this year when they've hit at least 1 home run. Two-run shot from Owings in the 2nd. Solo homer from Pollock in the 5th. Goldschmidt and Peralta back-to-back to start the 6th. 1-2.
See him trying to overthrow that one right there. Spinning on that front foot, ending up Shields 33 towards home plate. Sure, you can sense the frustration.
2-2 to Tomas. He lays off, ball 3.
You make a mistake to that kid there, Paul Goldschmidt, and he'll make you pay. Peralta with the breaking ball. As I mentioned, even though it was a ball, he got to it. Peralta did, down and in.
3-2 outside, ball 4. Homer walk for the Diamondbacks here in the 6th against James Shields. Darren Balsley on the phone with the bullpen as James Shields has allowed 4 homers in a game for the first time since June 2011. Dale Thayer puts on the hat and will start to loosen up. Hill takes inside, ball 1. Didn't see Hill in the game last night. Struggled in the series at Petco back in April. And 0 for 1 with a walk tonight. Brandon Maurer up and throwing. James Shields came into this inning with a 2-run lead. It's now 5-5, and he's still looking for the first out. Hill takes 2-1. Runner goes, and the pitch inside. Norris's throw down is beautiful, but Spangenberg can't get the tag down. Tough throw for Derek Norris. Hill was a little bit in his way. Threw a strike down to second base, and Spangenberg may have missed on the tag.
How Derek Norris picked this ball and then threw over the runner. And it looked like from that angle that Corey was a little late on the tag. Let's check it out. Tough to tell from there. He looked safe from that angle.
3-ball, 1-strike count. Tomas steals his second big league base. And Hill chops it into the Arizona dugout. To Hill is low outside, ball 4. Shields again frustrated with himself. Second walk of the inning. Still nobody out, and runners on first and second for Chris Owings, as Darren Balsley, the pitching coach, going to head out, have a conversation with the starter.
AT pitches for James Shields as Darren Balsley, the pitching coach for the Padres. Maybe just going over a little refresher course with Chris Owings with runners at first and second. Very frustrating inning for James Shields. There you see the breakdown, 95 total. And the Diamondbacks from game 1 of this series, they've been hitting some mistakes.
Good to see the opening day fedora here. Big moment in this ball game. Owings a 2-run homer his first time up. And as he shows bunt, the pitch goes over his head.
Breaking ball, curveball got away from him. Shields wiping his hand on his jersey after that pitch. Over the head. Notice how Hill also getting that bat down out of the way. Sure, he was bunting, but in a batting stance, it's a very important thing to do, is get that bat head out of the way. If it hits it, it's a foul ball.
He bunted foul, 1-1. If you're sitting at home thinking about the roof closed and the roof open and how that may impact the flight of the ball, go back the last 4 or 5 years or so. Almost no difference in the number of home runs hit here with the roof open and the roof closed. Equal opportunity.
Pretty fair both ways.
Another high pitch on a bunt attempt. 2-1.
The last couple of pitches have been up for James Shields. 2 of the last 3. Owings trying to bunt down the third base line to drawing Solarte to open up that third base bag.
And he pushes it back to Shields.
Third.
Has a play at third, and they get him. Nicely done by James Shields and Yangervis Solarte. They get the force at third base. Tomas gone. That's the first down of the inning.
That's one of those where you're getting directed from your catcher.
Catcher, Tuffy.
Shields does a fine job of positioning himself before throwing that baseball. As he approaches his baseball, watch, he'll start to turn even before he gets there. Glove hand side, spins and throws for the force, getting the lead runner.
Shields battling and about to throw his 100th pitch of the night. Tuffy goes a wish. Lines that one down the left field line, but foul.
Well, the breaking ball's been hanging. Pitch 100.
Shields has struck Gozawish out twice tonight. Had the career night last night. 3 doubles and 4 RBIs. The 0-1. Tuffy takes. Third season in a Diamondback uniform for Gozawish. Arizona State guy, went to high school here in Phoenix. Just the 3rd Sun Devil to ever suit up for the Diamondbacks. Great program over in Tempe. Slow roller foul. 1-2. Padre killer Ender Inciarte has moved into the on-deck circle. Pitcher spot is due next. Diamondbacks have already used 3 pitchers. May very well get to 4.
How about a double play ball right here?
Gozawish certainly a good candidate for that.
He is grounded into 2 this year. Only a month into the season. A lot of Diamondbacks tied for 3, but the leader with 4 is Mark Trumbo in the GIDP category.
Ball and 2 strikes to Gozawish. And he got it. Curveball from James Shields. That's been the strikeout pitch tonight. Sombrero for Gozawish. 7 strikeouts for Shields.
No problem on that curveball. 100 plus pitches. And on pitch 104, that's one of the better curveballs James Shields has thrown this evening. 7th strikeout for the right-hander.
Inciarte started the game last night. He did good. Double and a run. And in his last 13 games against the Padres, a .346 average. Take strike 1.
I think you got a call there. He'll take it.
Padres and the Diamondbacks have played an entertaining almost 6 innings here tonight. All kinds of extra base hits. 0-2 as Inciarte misses the changeup. Will Myers a triple away from the cycle. Single homer double in 4 at-bats. Will Venables got a home run and a triple in 3 ABs. Starting in center field tonight, Myers at first. 0-2 to Inciarte. Shields couldn't get him to chase.
Well, with 107 pitches being thrown from James Shields, this is probably one of the bigger at-bats. Tie game, runner in scoring position, 2 base runners. Talk about having to bear down right here.
1-2 to Inciarte, and he rolls over to first. Myers will take it himself. And James Shields gets the 3rd out of the inning. Back-to-back homers from Goldschmidt and Peralta. We're all tied up.
Last outing, James Shields against Colorado. Charlie Blackmon, see where the glove was, and then on contact, missing location. It happens to the best of pitchers. That's why at this level you have to be really, really fine. Tonight, Owings, see where the glove of Derek Norris is, and it leaks up middle in. He gets enough top hand to send it to left center field for the home run. And then Paul Goldschmidt, talk about great plate coverage. James Shields wants it down and away, and this ball leaks towards the middle part of the plate, thigh high, and Paul Goldschmidt sends it out to left field. So last night, Odrisamer Despaigne had difficulty hitting his spots, and tonight in 108 pitches for James Shields, he struck out 7 and 6. The Diamondbacks tied it up in the bottom of the 6th, 5-5.
That is the score as we begin the 7th inning. Upton, Solarte, and Norris against the new Arizona pitcher Enrique Burgos, coming on for the 5th time in his big league career. Made his major league debut on April 29th against Colorado.
Pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher for Burgos. Slider, fastball, 95 to 98. Good arm.
Fastball misses low at 95 to Upton. One out to the Padre left fielder, misses again, low with a fastball, 2-0. Upton with an RBI fielder's choice his last time, doubled in the 3rd. Just missed a home run. Ball 3.
Well, we're back to square one, Jesse.
Time to start from scratch. Upton taking all the way, and Burgos having some trouble finding the strike zone. Leadoff walk for San Diego here in the top of the 7th.
Tonight, Padres POV presented by Sequan Casino returns. Coming up, we go one-on-one with Dave Roberts, plus the first of a 2-part series on the life and career of our Hall of Fame broadcaster here in San Diego, Mr. Dick Enberg. Tonight after Padres Live on Fox Sports San Diego.
Jan Hervis Solarte, 1 for 3, single and a stolen base. It's a fun show to watch. POV with Allie. Gives you a completely different look at these Padre players we watch every night.
It's a different point of view.
Oh, I get it now. Strike 1 to Solarte. Padres got single runs in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. They scored twice in the 5th. Arizona 2 in the 2nd, 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th. It all adds up to 10 runs, 5 apiece. Going to be a sprint to the finish, and Justin Upton got things started in a good way for San Diego here in the 7th, the leadoff walk. Runner goes a wish, throws, and not in time. Rolls away. Upton thought about 3rd. Did a good job backing up by Hill, the second baseman. 6th steal and 6 tries for Justin Upton.
You know, not the greatest jump, and a pretty good pitch for Gozawish, but he just yanks that one and short hops. Owings at second base. That was a perfect pitch for him to handle.
Gozawish only thrown out a couple of would-be base stealers so far this year. Solarte now with a man in scoring position. One of the best in these situations in baseball. Pops it up though, left side, foul ground. Tomas looking going to run out of space. About 5 rows behind that Arizona dugout. Burgos 22 years old. Andrew Cashner will start Sunday, Mother's Day. Solarte chases and he strikes out.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. So visit MLB.TV for details.
Padre Brown looking good here in Phoenix. Burgos gets the first out. Derek Norris now with Upton on second and one away. Takes a high fastball. 96 from the young right-hander. Strikeout and a lineout in his first couple at bats. Burgos not getting that call from Jim Joyce behind the plate. Norris hits it in the air, shallow right field. Hill, the second baseman, makes the catch, 2 away.
Jesse, we've been talking about location of pitches and getting hurt on those mistakes. Look at this pitch here. Hanging breaky ball, and Derek just opening up a little bit, and it's a fine line. Open it. Watch the front side, the front shoulder, hips open up a little bit too early, and he works underneath it. It happens.
Will Venable swinging a hot bat. Going to try and give the Padres the lead here in the 7th. Homered his first time up, tripled and scored in his second at bat. Swinging at the first pitch and fouls it off the other way. 0-1. Venable came into tonight 0 for his last 16.
Hey, they come in bunches. And the last thing that Will Venable is thinking about is cycle. He wants to drive in that run. He wants to get on base.
One strike pitch misses at 96. Nice night of the bigs. And still time. 1-1 from Burgos. Taken for a strike.
Backdoor slider. Fox Tracks brought to you by Nissan. Shows it's right on the outside corner. Outfield pretty straight away against Will Venable. Jerry Tarkanian. James Shields talking with Darren Balsley.
Venable lines that one to left field. It's going to get down for a base hit. Upton's being waved. Peralta's throw is up the line, not in time. Venable ends up at second base. RBI single for Will Venable. And the Padres have a 6-5 lead in the 7th.
That is a big league hit right there by Will Venable. Taking what's given to you. Trying not to do too much. Elevated. He just gets that barrel of the bat out. Glenn Hoffman giving the green light. Hey, big time situation. And big time clutch hit for Will Venable.
Single for Venable, goes to second on the throw. And so now Will Myers a triple away from the cycle. And Will Venable a double away from the Padre Holy Grail. One of the two. If your name is Will and you're in the starting lineup, you're a hit away from the cycle.
Will they get it?
And Marista takes low, 2-0. There's good base running by Venable too, putting himself in scoring position there, taking that extra base.
Absolutely.
Myers just 3 spots away in the batting order.
Stay tuned. Call a friend.
RBI fielder's choice for Amarista. He's 0 for 3. he takes high, 3-0. Jed Jerko has moved on to the on-deck circle. Pitcher spot due next. James Shields, 5 runs in 6 innings. And if the Padres don't give this lead up, they'll pick up his 4th win of the year.
Yep.
Runner going for third, and Venable is out. Will Venable try to steal third base, but thrown out for the final out of the inning. His base hit gave the Padres a lead, though. Cycle watch ×2 in Phoenix. Log on to MercuryInsurance.com today and see how much you could save. By Petco, what we feed them matters. And by your San Diego Lexus dealer. Seventh inning stretch complete in Phoenix. Brandon Maurer out on the hill for the Padres. He's going to try and hold this one down, a 1-run lead for San Diego.
Big time outing for the bullpen and Brandon Maurer. 12th game for the right-hander. Righties, well, he owns at .095 average.
Yeah, he's been outstanding against right-handed hitters. A little chopper to the left side. Barehand Solarte got him. Close play at first. And for the second time in as many nights, a great barehanded play by Solarte at third.
I've got a feeling that this is going to be a challenge, but I'll tell you what, I didn't even think it was going to be that close with the way that ball was struck and Solarte having to come in so far and make a perfect throw.
Pollock can run well too. It has been challenged, and almost in one fluid motion he gets it down there, and it looks like Pollock probably on the back.
Yeah, it's very close. A beautiful play, but I think this one is going to be called safe.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And a great stretch by Will Myers as well.
Just going to say that. So a close play at first base. Greg Gibson made the out call. He and Jim Joyce now speaking to New York. Pollock is safe. So a leadoff infield single for the Arizona center fielder here against Brandon Maurer.
Well, it's worth another look because it was a tremendous play by Solarte. On the run, throwing accurately.
Nice quick review. Umpires got the call right. And now Brandon Maurer's got to deal with a base runner. And Mark Trumbo at the plate. First pitch swinging again, and he pops it up. Myers got a little bit of a funky angle, and nice job by Corey Spangenberg coming over to make the catch. Not an easy ball to read for Will Myers, and Spangenberg takes control of the situation.
And that's the way that play is drawn up. Better angle for Corey Spangenberg, and a lot of communication going on. Myers eyes it, finds a spot, goes back. Now he starts to backpedal a little bit, get out of the way, get called off by Corey. Ooh, that's a big out.
First two Diamondbacks have swung at the first pitch against Brandon Maurer, and here's Paul Goldschmidt, who homered his last time up. Runner on first, one away. First pitch swinging again, and he fouls it back, leading off the sixth, the solo shot. No downer to left off of James Shields.
For a big guy, he can really get that bat through the zone. Short, quick to the baseball. And he doesn't miss too many mistakes. He will miss mistakes, but tonight he was on that one.
Runner goes, and he lines it to right field, pretty much right at Kemp, and this could be a double play. Matt winds up, throws back to first, and the throw pulls Myers off the bag, and he can't make the tag. Pollock was running on the play, and he had to hustle back to first. A good throw probably gets him.
This ball just leaking a little bit. Not a bad idea trying to one-hop it, but just getting under it a little bit. And Pollock on the swipe tag. Got double play written all over it. And you can see that ball kind of sinking, almost like a two-seamer out of the hand of Matt Kemp.
Great effort on the tag by Myers. That was pretty close over there. Again, for a guy that's played 4 innings at first base in his entire big league career before tonight.
You know what he did well on that play? He got off the bag.
Yeah.
He went away from it. He didn't try to stretch and make it right. He went for the ball, leaving the bag. You know, a lot of first-time first basemen will probably try to stay on the bag, but this one is well off and just misses him.
Really nice play. All of that ends with the second out of the inning. Peralta homered his last time up as he went back-to-back with Goldschmidt. Lined out to right, grounded out to second in his first 2 at-bats. Haven't seen a ton of pickoff attempts with Will Myers playing first base. Pretty straightforward there.
And just as you mentioned it.
Swung around the other way against Peralta.
Got the rover on the right side, shallow right field.
There's a strike.
Nice little cutter or slider in the outside corner.
Amarista, by the way, is the lone infielder on the left side. Solarte, the third baseman, shifts over to the right side of the infield.
Amarista more range there at shortstop.
Runner goes. Norris throw down. Did they get him? They did. Nice tag by Solarte. A little bit of a tough angle, and Derek Norris throws a would-be base stealer out for the 12th time this season. Diamondbacks had the leadoff man aboard. They could not cash in. 6-5 Padres as we head to the 8th, downtown Phoenix. definitely on the cycle watch. Jed Jerko going to lead off. Will Myers will be next. He is a triple away from the cycle. Will Venable, meanwhile, is a double away from the cycle. A little bit of confusion here about who should be batting for the Padres. The 9 spot is up. Jed Jerko going to pinch hit. Will Venable was thrown out trying to steal third, ending the last inning.
So Amarista should be at the plate, right?
It was ball 4 to Alexi Amarista. Kind of lost in the shuffle because Venable was caught stealing at third base. So Jerko, first pitch swinging over to Yasmani Tomas. One away, and Will Myers coming to the plate. Here's the night for the Padre first baseman. Leading off the game, it's a single. That got things started in the 5th inning. An absolute bloop there, and there's the home run for Will Myers.
That's the impressive one.
Yeah, he smashed it.
Down and in, off the plate, big time. And keeping that ball fair, amazing.
Now the umpires are going to get together. It's a very, very strange start to this inning.
Yeah.
I imagine the conversation is about whether the...
Did you see Jim Joyce? He said ball 4.
Yeah, they got to be discussing whether or not Amarista should have been leading off the inning. We saw Buddy Black talking to Jim Joyce, the home plate umpire, before the inning, maybe just, you know, triple checking the situation. And Jim Joyce, the crew chief, home plate umpire tonight, talking things over with the other men in blue. Buddy trying to ask what's going on, yeah. And then, oh, by the way, Will Myers trying to make Padre history. They say it's the hardest one to get. Numbers reflective of that. Ziegler delivers strike 1. Single, a line out to right, a homer, and a double. Padres do have a pair of triples tonight. Corey Spangenberg and Will Venable. Ziegler making his 13th appearance of the season and his record-breaking career appearance for Arizona. He's now appeared in more games as a Diamondback than anyone ever has.
Very tough to hit. Unorthodox delivery. Sidearm. Low sidearm.
Chopper foul outside of third.
And he does just a lot of that. A lot of grounders. Each year he has pitched at the big league level, with the exception of 2 fewer hits than innings pitched. Very integral part of the bullpen for the Diamondbacks. Keeps the ball in the yard as well.
2-2 to Myers, and he fouls it back.
Except if you're Corey Spangenberg.
There you go. Who's on deck?
Corey Spangenberg hit a home run off Brad Ziegler with the Petco porch.
A walk-off homer as a pinch hitter.
That was beautiful.
In his second big league game. Myers slaps the 2-2 to right field. Trumbo coming over, and he's going to get there. Myers trying to go for 2. The throw to second base is in time. So Will Myers comes up with his 4th hit of the night. But he's thrown out trying to stretch the single into a double.
I really didn't think that he was going to try for 2. He did not break stride. It took a perfect throw and a nice swipe tag. It's worth another look. Trumbo going away from the play. He doesn't have the best arm out there. Once he had to go to his left and then regroup and throw a perfect 2-hopper to second base.
Mentioned Spangenberg's big homer against Ziegler last year. Now he takes ball 1. Great night for Spangy. 3 walks, a triple, stolen base, a couple runs.
If you're going to try to do that, that's the outfielder to do it on, right?
Absolutely.
Trumbo? Yeah.
These other guys got guns.
Yeah.
4 hits for Will Myers, a career high. Spangenberg takes 2-1. Joaquin Benoit heating up. 2-1 to Spangenberg. Big swing and a miss. That looked like the swing from last September against Ziegler. September 2nd, walk-off.
We talk about bad location. That's exactly what happened out of the hand of Brad Ziegler, and Corey Spangenberg made him pay.
Goes down to get that one, fouls it off. Nice scoop, Jose Valentin. It was a tough year for offensive highlights last year. That was a very, very cool moment at Petco. Another 2-2 to Spangenberg. Down by the feet, full count. Ziegler working him down, 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 and missing outside, ball 4. 4th walk of the night for Spangenberg, who has been on base 5 times in the ballgame.
That'll help the on-base percentage.
He's down with OBP.
Right fielder, Matt
Word.
Another opportunity for Matt Kemp. Had that RBI single last time up. He fouled out to end the 6th inning. Snapped the bat over his knee. Ziegler checks on Spangenberg, who's stolen a base tonight. Another throw to first base. Good tag by Goldschmidt. Spangenberg just back. Saw with Myers needing the triple for the cycle. You know, it's happened 256 times that a Padre has needed the triple. It's only happened 18 times that somebody needed the double. And that's the position that Will Venable is in tonight.
In the story that the great late Tony Gwynn told, he was a single shy of the cycle. Padres were blowing out the team. Manager Jim Riggleman gave him a little blow at the end of the game, took him out of the game. Tony Gwynn shy of the cycle, only needing a single. And Tony, being the humble chap that he was, didn't say a word. Okay, Skip.
Venable, homer, triple, single in 4 trips. Camp swings and misses 1 and 2.
There's that diving 2-seamer. Ziegler does not throw hard. That fastball is only going to top out at 86. See you working down, down, down.
Another check on Spangy. He rolls with it.
Hey, he's concerned over there, right? Make a mistake to Kemp.
Kemp lays off 2 and 2. cut up a little bit. Two to Kemp, and he fouls this one back. Justin Upton would be next. Padres have had at least one base runner every single inning against the 5 Arizona pitchers. They've scored in 5 of the 7 completed innings. Lead by a run. Runner goes, and Kemp tops it foul outside of third.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the San Diego Padres. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Corey Spangenberg on first base. Matt Kemp at the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
See what Ziegler's trying to do here to Kemp. Keep everything away. Nothing he can really leave over the heart of the plate and pull.
And that one just touched by Matt Kemp's bat. Still 2-2. A lot of down, a lot of away. Kemp's obviously played a ton of games in this ballpark. Good success against Arizona in his career. 2-2. Ziegler left that one out over the plate. Goldschmidt giving it a look, and it'll find the seats. Oh, the Fedora guy nearly got that one. Another 2-2 from Brad Ziegler to Matt Kemp. Got it. Long battle goes to the Arizona pitcher, and we go to the bottom of the 8th. Benoit coming in. Not just at the plate, but also defensively. First major league start at first base. A couple of different kinds of opportunities, and he's made pretty much every play over there. Not always going to be simple, not always going to be easy, but taking care of business from a defensive standpoint.
And talking to infield coach Glenn Hoffman, getting some pointers, sharing some ideas.
Good night for Will Myers and Will Venable. Each, as you may have heard, a hit away from the cycle. Venable would be due up 4th in the top of the 9th. Joaquin Benoit with a 1-run lead. Delivers a fastball outside to David Peralta. Haven't seen Benoit yet on this road trip. And that cranky shoulder, last pitched a perfect 8th inning Sunday in the win over the Rockies.
A lot will be told on the velocity from Joaquin Benoit on his fastball. 94 on that one upstairs. That'll do.
Aaron Hill has seen Benoit 8 times and has had success. He's in the hole. Peralta was at the plate in the bottom of the 7th inning when A.J. Pollock was caught stealing to end the frame. 12th caught stealing by catcher Derek Norris so far this year.
Well, as Mike Pomerantz and Steve Finley were talking as they get ready for Padres Live, the postgame show, talking about this one being planned out, the blueprint with Benoit being your 8th inning guy. Punchy. And then Kimbrel for the 9th. Benoit with the cranky shoulder. I don't think so. How about the cranky swing? Swung out and missed. And after that strikeout, it's now time to check the Cholula flamethrower. Joaquin Benoit, 95.
He's fun to watch pitch. What is that, by the way? Got it. I almost forgot the routine. Sorry. Tomas, first pitch swinging. Nice play at second by Spangenberg, and he throws him out. Good defensive play, 2 away. And let's take a look back at the keys to the game, which are brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
First key, get to Jeremy Hellickson early. 14 ERA in the first inning. Only went 4 2/3, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 home runs allowed, and Shields needs to be the stopper. We like to see him go deep into the game. He went 6, gave up 6 hits, 5 earned runs, gave up 4 long balls. But when you look at the big picture, the R column, Padres up by 1, 6-5. Yo.
4 outs to go for Padre pitching. Aaron Hill has walked twice and scored a run. Just missing 2-0. Talked about the Diamondbacks moving guys all around. Defensively, Hill started opening day at third base. Seeing him tonight at second. They're trying to figure it out over there. Getting production from a couple different guys, and I guess as much as anything, no one has grabbed hold and refused to let go. Benoit struck out Peralta, got Tomas to ground out on 1 pitch, but now he's 3-0 to Hill. And it misses high, ball 4. 3rd walk of the night for Aaron Hill.
Shortstop, Chris.
Tying run aboard for the Diamondbacks. And one of the guys who has hit one of the 4 home runs for Arizona is at the plate. Owings' first pitch swinging, line drive caught by Myers. And how about that? Another nice play defensively at first base for Will Myers. And we'll go to the 9th inning. The Padres have a 1-run lead. They've got Will Myers playing a nice first base and Will Venable due up 4th. Of the game. They belong to Will Venable. Homered his first at bat. Now he's back in the second inning. At bat number 2, he hit the ball really well to left, and it bounced away from Peralta, and he ended up with a triple. Homer, triple, and then a single to left field that drove in Justin Upton. That was a big hit in this game as far as the result of the night is concerned. And so Will Venable, a double away from the first cycle in Padre history, is due up 4th here in the 9th inning. Padres leading 6-5 as Brad Ziegler opens up his second inning of work, delivering strike 1 to Justin Upton.
Time to take out a policy. Get some insurance.
Upton hits that one in the air, shallow right field. Hill out, Trumbo in. Hill makes the catch, one away. Padres Live, the post-game show coming up. Not one, but 2 cycle watches tonight. Preview the new episode of Padres POV coming up afterwards. And we'll hear from Buddy Black. Good night for the Wills. Jan Hervis Solarte with Venable in the hole. First pitch swinging, lines it to left. Peralta going back at the track. He makes the catch.
For a second there, I thought he had it. Ziegler going away, elevates it. Something you don't see too much of. Solarte stayed on it nicely. And it's caught at the base of the wall. Peralta going back, squaring up. Feel that track under his feet for the grab.
2 outs, and Derek Norris takes a first pitch strike. If Norris reaches, Will Venable will bat. If he doesn't, hopefully Venable doesn't get to bat.
Absolutely.
Outside, ball 1. One misses to Derek Norris. 2 balls and a strike. Craig Kimbrell, like Benoit before him, yet to pitch on this road trip. Ball 3. You know, a lot of these new Padre players, they might not know the whole cycle history here. They will after tonight, believe you me. Will Venable, very, very, very aware of the thing. He's been around. 3-1, Norris up the middle, off Ziegler, and it's going to kind of roll into no man's land on the right side of the infield. And so a 2-out infield single from Derek Norris will get Will Venable to the plate with 2 outs in the 9th, a double away from the first cycle in Padres history. Will Venable, a left-handed batter, is not going to get the opportunity to hit against the right-handed pitching Ziegler. Chip Hale relieves him, and the suspense builds a little more. 1-run lead for the Padres. Will Venable with 2 outs in the 9th. Away from the first cycle in Padre history, getting one final at bat here in the 9th inning. Just 18 times coming into tonight has a Padre hitter been a double away from the cycle. Venable trying to prevent it from becoming 19, and in the process make some history. This was neat here during the pitching change. Oliver Perez coming in, and hitting coach Mark Kotze and Venable going over the scouting report.
1 for 4. Will Venable is off of Oliver Perez for his career. That one hit, a double.
Perez, left-hander, 15th appearance of the season, veteran big leaguer. And a check on first, where you better believe Derek Norris isn't going to be going very far. Two-out infield single for Norris to get Venable to the plate. Perez delivers, strike one. Will, a 7th round pick of the Padres in the 2005 draft. Made his big league debut in 2008 with San Diego.
Big sweeping breaking ball. Oliver Perez can be erratic.
Homered in his first at bat, tripled in his second at bat. RBI single in the 7th. That is the difference in this game. And Will and everyone else will tell you that's the primary concern. 0-2 from Perez, swung on and missed. Strike 3. It looks like the 7,360th game in Padres history will be another without a cycle. More importantly now, Craig Kimbrell coming on to try and close it out. May very well become the 19th Padre to finish a night just the double shy of the cycle. Here you go, though. Craig Kimbrell coming in for what he hopes will be his 9th save of the season. 8-9-1 due up for Arizona in a 1-run game.
Craig earned his 8th save of the season Sunday at Colorado, tied for 4th most in the NL. Tied for 8th most in the majors. We know all about it. The fastball, upper 90s, and the power curveball. And Bud Black tightening up the defense a little bit, inserting Will Middlebrooks at third base.
Gonna have a couple of pinch hitters to face Craig Kimbrell. Tuffy Gozawish, who is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, is out, and Cliff Pennington will pinch hit for him. Saw him in this role last night in the 8th inning as he takes a 97-mile-per-hour heater for strike one from Kimbrel. Kimbrel had that rough outing against the Astros, but then picked up saves on Saturday and Sunday against the Rockies. On the ground to Myers. He will flip to Kimbrel. One away.
Just like in spring training.
"34 consecutive saves for Craig Kimbrel, and he gets the first out here in the bottom of the ninth.
Perez, number 31, Jordan Pacheco.
For a hard thrower to really consistently keep that ball down in the zone, he does a fine job of that.
Jordan Pacheco will pinch hit for Oliver Perez, backup catcher for the Diamondbacks. 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts in his career against Kimbrel. Can't touch that heater. 0-1. Pacheco, a familiar name from his time with the Rockies. Good pinch hitter last year. Career .291.
Yes, he did.
You are correct, sir. First base umpire Greg Gibson says he swung 0-2.
Tough to lay off that power curveball.
Padres and Diamondbacks have been slugging it out on this Friday night. Kimbrel trying to put the finishing touches on an exciting evening. Misses there at 98. One-two to Pacheco. Bounced it in. Join us tomorrow at 4:30. Third game of this 4-game series. Diamondbacks took the opener last night. Padres trying to even the series. Dyson Ross will be out on the hill tomorrow for the Friars. 2-2. Pacheco off the hands. Little looper over to first. And Will Myers got an assist for the first out and a put out for the second.
You've heard the baseball phrase getting in the guy's kitchen. This rattles the pots, the pans, the Calphalon, the Tupperware. Inches from the knuckles there.
Padres Live, the post-game show coming up next. Mike Pomerantz and Steve Finley from San Diego. 2 outs, nobody on. And yeah, they'll be talking about Will Venable. A.J. Pollock 2 for 4. Takes strike one. You don't see a lot of 86-mile-per-hour curveballs around baseball, but Craig Kimbrel's got one.
Some guys would love to throw a fastball at 86.
Pollock swings and misses, 0-2. And the Diamondbacks are down to their final strike. Oh-2. Outside with the fastball at 97.
Looks like they're trying to mock Craig Kimbrel with his stance, getting the sign.
Yeah. Looks like a pterodactyl cage or something. Everybody trying to capture the moment. The rally lights, that's right. I had forgotten about that. That's... Two-two, swung on and missed. 98-mile-per-hour fastball from Craig Kimbrell, who strikes out A.J. Pollock. He collects his 9th save of the season, and the Padres a 6-5 win over the Diamondbacks. Straight cheese from Craig Kimbrell to A.J. Pollock, and a back-and-forth night ends in the Padres' favor. A 6-5 win. Will Venable, what turns out to be the game-winning single in the 7th, ends his night. A double shy of the cycle. Big night for Will Myers as well. Plenty more to come. Mike Pomerantz will take us the rest of the way.
Fans, we regret to inform you that due to unsafe winter weather conditions, we will be unable to proceed with tonight's fireworks show. The city of Phoenix and the Arizona Diamondbacks